Chapter 10. Joe was becoming acquainted with the beach area, knowing exactly where to go, even if Oriole hadn't been leading him.
You kind of like this altar, don't you?
Joe looked up.
Well, apart from the fact that she can sneak up on you, I haven't found anything to dislike about her.
Not exactly the ringing endorsement that I heard back there with the others.
Oriole observed a bit coolly.
Look, when I have a dragon, and I don't even know what to call someone, and then the werewolves, Alter is amazing in comparison. Plus, she seems very intelligent and not one to eat us, if you know what I mean.
He grinned.
Thank you for not including me in your list of repulsive creatures.
Oriole said.
I have my beautiful feathers, but they just paper over what I really am in just the same way as the fur papers over the werewolves or the scales paper over obsidian. And like you, I can't even say what Soin is. He might be a computer for all I know.
I hadn't thought about that, but you could be right. Not that it matters. To your point.
As they arrived at the outcropping, their voices became quieter, and their eyes scanned their surroundings instead of one another. Oriole flew within a few meters of Joe, whispering,
I will fly over their camp high in the air and see if I can spot her. If I do, I can make the invitation. You can stay here. If I don't find her, maybe she'll surprise you like she did last time. Okay?
Joe nodded, but there was a twinge of fear. He didn't want to end up in the hut again. Oriole flapped her large wings, spanning 2 meters, and they lifted her high into the blue sky above the beach, sea, and surrounding mountain cliffs that bordered the beach with the forests in between. It was a beautiful sight with nature at its full glory. The first thing that Oriole noticed were other birds flying about. They were similar to seagulls, but were instead a deep black with indigo highlights. One of these birds came over to her as she was ascending.
What are you?
The raven asked in a shocked voice.
I am a phoenix. You've never heard of me.
Oh, we've heard of you. We've even seen your kind before.
Really?
Oriole exclaimed, somewhat challenging the raven.
They were not my eyes that saw the phoenix, but others of my kind have, and what they have seen, I can also see. It is one of our abilities.
It is a good thing to have this capacity. I should think it would make you much smarter than if you lacked it.
Why are you here?
The raven asked.
Do I need a purpose?
Don't we all?
Perhaps, but I'm just enjoying the day.
Well, it is a great day for gliding over the sea and feeling the sun on our wings. And if I may, your wings are the most beautiful I have seen. Do you even notice them?
Thank you. I'm aware.
I mean, if I had wings that beautiful, I might just lock myself in a cage with a mirror and admire myself all day.
Oriole chuckled at the remark.
It is very kind of to say. Perhaps surprisingly to you, I admire your colours. At first, from a distance, you looked all black, but now that you're close to me, I can see the iridescence of blues, violets, greens.
She glanced again.
Even reds and oranges show themselves in the right light. You are quite amazing as well.
They flew together for a short period of silence, enjoying the other's presence, knowing of their shared appreciation.
How did you arrive in this world?
The raven finally asked.
Quite by accident, I can assure you.
Oriole said.
Hmm.
The raven mumbled under its breath, sensing guile in Oriole.
And yet, it is no accident you are here with me.
Oriole shot a glance at the raven.
What do you mean?
I can take you anywhere you want to go. I know this whole sea and everything around her. I can be your guide.
That is a very kind offer, but I'm not looking to go sightseeing.
Then what are you looking for?
A person.
What kind of a person? I have seen dragons of the sea and the land. I have seen a human being with feathers of my own colour, but only on the top of his head. I have seen plenty of wolves with brown fur who walk the land like they were humans. Do you want to see any of those?
I'm looking for one in particular. Just one person.
Well, what do they look like? I probably know them. As you can tell, I put my beak into everyone's business.
They are known as servitors in my world. I don't know if you would know about them. I'm not even sure I can describe them very well.
Are they half human, half animal?
Yes, the top half is like a deer. Do you know what they are?
Oriole replied.
Oh yes, we have many deer on our planet. Millions, in fact.
Millions. Really? I have not seen one.
Oriole admitted.
They hide very well because of the werewolves.
Ah, that makes sense.
So, this servitor you seek, why do you seek them?
They are translators and, well, the beings I serve for now, they desire to speak with her, the translator, the servitor.
Does the servitor have a name?
Alter.
Yes?
Her name is Alter.
Oriole repeated.
Yes? What is it that you want?
Oriole looked puzzled, wondering if the raven had suddenly lost its memory, and then it dawned on her. Was this raven actually Alter? There were legends that they could shapeshift and take on other forms. She glanced at the raven.
Are you Alter?
I am.
You're not joking or pretending.
I'm not an imposter. I'm simply able to manifest the physical energy that conveys me in space-time into a shape that suits me in the moment.
Then how do you remember who you are?
Alter chuckled.
I have a central identity that is my original form, the one I was born into. However, I can change it for short periods of time. Which reminds me, I should be returning to the land soon because my original form does not fly.
She looked down at the sea below.
And that would be an unpleasant fall.
They had climbed quite high with the rising air currents. The shoreline below looked like a narrow strip of white bread.
Follow me. I will take you to Joe, whom you met earlier. He has a proposition for you.
Hearing no objection, Oriole made a graceful 45-degree angle turn and began her descent to the outcropping where she had left Joe. When she landed on one of the rocks, she turned to Joe, who was talking to himself in a whisper.
I found her.
Can you take me to her?
I've done one better.
Oriole winked.
She's coming to us.
Where is she?
See that raven coming in to land on the beach?
Joe nodded.
Yeah,
That's her.
Joe's head pivoted between Oriole and the raven several times before he managed to speak.
it's a bird.
Wait, and watch.
A moment later, the raven's feet touched the sand of the beach, and its transformation immediately began. It changed to an energetic sphere of light that hovered a few centimeters above the sand, and the longer it hovered, the sphere began to push out limbs of light and a head with squiggly lines of light above it. For Joe, the transformation was mind-altering. He found himself slack-jawed with unblinkable eyes, riveted on the most unusual thing he had ever seen. Within 30 seconds, the transformation was complete. The squiggly lines, antlers. The limbs of light were arms and legs. The head, with all of the facial features of a beautiful deer, was the last to form, as if saving the best for last. Alter stood before him and even smiled.
I like your friend.
She said, turning to Oriole.
Yes, me too.
Joe managed to croak, his shock unhidden. Alter looked expectantly at Joe with bright eyes, as if nothing had happened out of the usual circumstances of life.
I understand you have a proposition for me.
How do you do that?
It's not something I can teach, so I will forgo the explanation. Your proposition?
I mean, seriously, that is the most amazing thing I have ever seen.
Joe continued to gush.
Can you at least tell me what kind of forms you can shapeshift into? Can you do a dragon? Or a phoenix? Or what about me? Can you be a human?
I can be anything that any of my kind across space-time has been. Once one of my kind had figured out how to be, let's say a mouse, then all of my kind can be a mouse, if we use our abilities to be a mouse.
Like a collective unconscious.
More like a collective library of forms that have been templated by ingenious creators of my race.
How many of you are there?
Oriole asked.
The legends speak of you like gods, and gods are fairly rare, at least where I'm from.
She smiled.
At any one time, there are only a few thousand of us spread across the universe. Here, in this world, there is only one.
She paused and put her arms out.
Me.
You should give her the proposal.
Oriel said, glancing at Joe and then back to the mesmerizing altar. Joe's face suddenly turned serious, foreboding even.
Yes, well, the werewolves, as you might suspect, did not accept the terms of your counter-proposal.
It was not my counter-proposal. It was the sea dragons.
Joe nodded.
Yes, of course, I meant to say that.
And what were the werewolves concerned about?
They didn't like the lack of specificity regarding whether the sea dragons would stay out of their territories. The sea dragons were quite clear that the werewolves were to stay out of the sea dragons' territory, but they didn't propose that they would stay out of the werewolves' territory.
I see.
Alter said, putting her hands together to form a steeple and then pointing the steeple to the ground.
Well, the sea dragons are not carnivores. So if they venture into the territory of the werewolves, it would only be to find certain plants or herbs. They are not there to hunt. However, the same cannot be said of the werewolves. They are carnivores, and it was for this precise reason that the sea dragons wished to exclude them from their small, well-defined territory. They simply want to feel safe in their own home.
Alter paused for a moment, then raised her left hand with its index finger pointing upward.
And there is one more thing. There are only 2 of them, and there are thousands of werewolves surrounding them. How could sea dragons be seen as a threat in light of that ratio?
Joe hesitated to respond.
I don't pretend to understand the vagaries of the werewolf world. They do seem dangerous, to be sure. I've had only 1 day of experience with one of them, so I don't consider myself a good judge of their behaviors or propensities, but I do think they are willing to negotiate. Would you come and meet with 3 of their representatives?
Who else would be present?
I would,
Joe said.
And Oriel?
If you want her to join the negotiations, I will make it a condition.
Then I will consult with my clients, and if they allow these conditions, I will meet. When and where is all I need to know.
Joe pointed behind him.
If you take that trail and follow it, you'll come to a clearing. We'll have a fire built for warmth. Just follow the trail to the fire. We'll be ready when you come.
Tonight then,
Alter said.
around dusk.
And then, in a poof of light, Alter disappeared into the air as if she never existed.
She's hard to get used to,
Joe remarked under his breath.
And that's probably why you like her.
Oriel offered. Joe sighed.
It would be so easy to be confused in this world. How we manage to keep our bearings. It's quite a miracle, I must say.
The 2 friends, one walking and one flying, entered the forest and made their way to a crackling fire surrounded by large stones, positioned neatly in a clearing surrounded by a deep forest and the sound of the sea.